today, let me get this set up, we are talking about circumference. And it's in section 8.3. So if you need a reference for the book, you want to turn to section 8.3 to give you some more review time so you can look at that over to help your understanding and to aid with the video. All right, so the circumference only deals with circles. Blah, blah. Circumference only deals with circles. What do we, when we're talking about, that's the circumference is the area, the distance around the circle. So what kinds of things are we talking about when we go around a rectangle, the distance around a square, the distance around these things? They're not called circumference, they're called what? Perimeter. So circumference, we don't call it perimeter because it doesn't have sides. We talk about the distance around the circle. So you need to know that circumference is the distance around the circle. Now, you need to know the parts of the circle. So this, the blue, all the way around, is the distance around the circle. It has nothing to do with the area. It just encircles, it creates the circle. Encircles it, kind of weird, huh? Then you have the line that goes all the way across through the center point of the circle. There's a center point in the circle. That might be a little lopsided. But the center point, through the center point, that's the diameter. You hear that often. What's the diameter of the circle? What's the diameter of the can that I'm creating? What's the diameter of the barrel? It wants to know the distance across from one point to the other point on the circle, through the center point. If I did something like this, that's not a diameter because it doesn't go through the center point. But the diameter, when it goes through the center point, can go to any point, 2 points on the circle, and it'll be the same distance. So the diameter is the distance across the circle through the center point. And you must put that in the definition. Then you have the radius. And the radius, let's see if I can. Can I do that? Okay, well, the radius is the line that goes from the midpoint of the circle and out. It is only half the diameter. That's really important for later. The radius is half the diameter. And there's a little formula. So D equals 2 times R. Diameter equals 2 times the radius. So whatever the radius is, if I multiply it by 2, I'll get the diameter. So that's the radius. That's half of the circle. All right? That takes us, how do you use circumference in everyday life? What kinds of things? Can you think of something how you would use circumference? Okay, here's some ideas. I'm putting in a fountain in my backyard, and I'm going to put a circle, I want to put a flower garden in, but before I put the flower garden in around the fountain, I'm going to go in a circle around the fountain to the outside, and I want to differentiate. I want to put brickwork to make it really pretty. So when I put the bricks around the circle to encircle the fountain and my flower garden, that would be finding the circumference. And what would I need to know? I would need to know the circumference of the circle, so I need to know how many bricks I need to buy to complete the circle. See how that works? I need to know the measurement of the length of the bricks that I'm putting in. And then I would just add up how many I need to go around the circumference of the circle. That's one thing. Circumference would be a belt, kind of, you know, if I'm round. But it's the same idea because when you do a belt, it makes it round. So it gives you an idea of how long the belt needs to be to fit around you. You can do anything where you're putting any kind of design around something. So I bet you could come with stitches. If you're stitching a circle around and you're putting an emblem inside, you want to know how many stitches go around to put the emblem inside, what size is the circumference. And there's a formula. And the formula, whenever it says find the circumference, you know you're talking about the distance around a circle. The distance around a circle is always circumference. The formula is C equals pi times d. C is circumference. It's always a capital C. Pi, we always use 3.14. I know it goes on forever, but we only use 3.14. Circumference is we use pi, 3.14. And the diameter is the distance across the circle through the center point. Now, if I were to use that formula, and I give you D, and I say 16 units, then you would just say 3.14 times 16, and that would give you the circumference. You don't round unless it's bigger than hundredths place. So let's see what this is. Let me do the calculator here. So what I would do if I did 16 units, write this down. First, you have to write the formula. You have to write the formula. C equals pi times D every time. So we get C equals 3.14. Now, you could write 3.14 or you could just write pi. It's understood that pi is 3.14. Okay, you don't have to write it. The diameter is 16. So I go 3.14 times 16, and C is 50.24 units. You have to put units because it's a distance and it's a figure. We don't round this. If it comes out to be longer than 0.24, then you would round to hundredths. But if you don't say about 50, you have to put down 0.24, it comes out even. But what if I gave you just the radius? Let's say I said it was 9 centimeters. And I asked you, whoops, that was a mistake. And I asked you to, it's like class, isn't it? But I asked you to find the circumference. You first write C equals pi times D. But D is what? This is the radius. Do you remember how to get D? You multiply the radius times 2. So you say times 2 equals 18. 18 centimeters. So you go C equals pi times 18. 3.14 times 18. And C equals 56.52 centimeters. It's not centimeters squared because we're not talking about area. We're just talking about a distance. Just like perimeter is not square, it's just a distance. It's in centimeters. Okay, so now you should know how to find it if I give you the diameter or the radius. Well, now find the circumference. So stop the video and see if you can find the circumference. Look, it goes all the way across. Write the formula. When you're done, come back. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. Well, you have to write the formula. C equals pi times D. C equals pi times 51 point, whoops, not 51, 5.1. And then we say 3.14 times 5.1 is C 16.014. I'd probably leave it like that, centimeters. I would, or you put, if it comes out nice and even, if 3 or 4 digits, just go ahead and write it. Okay? So hopefully you got that answer. Find the circumference here. This is what? That's a radius. And you got to change that 1/4. That's why we were doing fractions. You have to know how to change 1/4 stands for what? Stop the video, do the problem, let's see how you do. Welcome back. So I hope you did C equals pi times D. You have to come over here and say 2 times 2.25. 2 times 2.25 is 4.5 because this is the radius and we need the diameter. So you have to multiply 2.25 times 2, which is 4.5. So we go C equals pi times 4.5. You get 4.5 times 3.14. You should have gotten C equals 14.13 feet. Because it's a distance around, it's not square. What is you are given, what if, that shouldn't say what is, I'm looking at that, that's very bad English. What if you are given the circumference and you're going to be asked to find the diameter or the radius? So you're given the circumference but you're going to be asked to find the diameter of the radius. We're going to have to go backwards. If you are asked to find the radius, you always find the diameter first and then divide by 2. So no matter what they ask for, when they give you the circumference, you always find the diameter first, then divide by 2. I'm going to show you. So here I say, find the diameter. C equals 63.5 centimeters. Okay, you have to write the formula. C equals pi d. Well, C equals 63.5. Now here's the interesting thing. You know what pi is. You don't know what d is. It wants you to find the diameter. So if we multiply pi times diameter, how do we undo that to find out what d is? You divide by pi. Remember, you make little fractions. This cancels. D equals, and you say 63.5 divided by 3.14. You always use 1. Now this one comes out as 20.2222929. I'm going to round to hundredths. So I'm going to say, and I can reverse it like this. Oh, this just won't stay up today. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to. I think this got broke the other day. Oh, there we go. That's better. All right. So when I divide 63.5 divided by 3.14, I have to write D is about, because it goes on, 20.22 centimeters. It only asks for the diameter, so I stop. Here, it asks for the radius. So I have to write C equals pi d, but because it asks for the radius, I have to find the diameter first. So I'm going to plug in for C. 75.4 equals pi times d. I'm going to solve the same way as I did over here because I already know what pi is. I divide by sums by pi because pi is 3.14 and d is probably, let's see what happens. So I have 75.4 divided by 3.14 and I get about 24 centimeters. But they don't ask for diameter. They ask for radius. How do you find radius if I give you the diameter? You divide by 2. So you can immediately go divide by 2, and R equals about 12 centimeters. That's what you do. I think that's it. That is it. So I want you to write down 2 questions that you have. Oh, no. Write down 2 things that you've learned in 1 question. And I will see you in class. I'm sorry about dropping the eraser today. All right, I got to turn this off.